I am 33 years old. I'm an artist. I have plenty of women from everywhere in the world. I say no to them and I say yes to you.
Because you love me.
Let those words sink in. Imagine looking your partner dead in the eyes after flying halfway across the globe, and they tell you that choosing to be with you is essentially an act of charity. This exact moment is when Kim Menzies realized she wasn't a girlfriend. She was an investment strategy. We've watched plenty of absolute train wrecks unfold on reality TV, but the psychological warfare between Kim and Usman's Soulja Boy humor takes the entire cake. We are talking about expensive electronics used as entry fees to a man's bedroom, a masterclass in emotional manipulation, and a massive web of cultural promises designed to completely dismantle a woman's self-worth. But the real shockwave here isn't what the cameras caught during production. It's the dark, unedited aftermath that happened when the contracts expired. We are breaking down the entire blueprint of this international grift, from the early transactional DMs to the exact moment Kim took a match, walked into her backyard, and literally burned this entire relationship to ash. Stick around, because how this fantasy finally collapsed exposes the exact timeline of what happens when fangirl delusion meets a cold, calculated reality TV hustle. To understand how a retired USA Army veteran ended up begging for affection in a Tanzanian hotel room, you have to look at the Predator's blueprint. Long before Kim ever entered the frame, Usman Umar had already perfected his formula. He survived a toxic, internationally broadcast marriage with his first older American wife, baby girl Lisa. That relationship ended in a spectacular fallout filled with public allegations of financial scamming. But Usman didn't retreat. He simply realized his doorway to American television required a brand new occupant, and Kim Menzies was the right choice. She's a 50-something divorced mother and an Army vet. On paper, she is tough, logical, and disciplined. But when it came to international music superstar Soulja Boy, she was completely blinded by the blinding light of minor celebrity. She spent months sliding into his direct messages, liking every post, and treating a low-tier reality TV star like a global icon. Look at her body language the second she steps off that 30-hour flight to Zanzibar. She isn't acting like a woman meeting an equal romantic partner. She is acting like a teenager who just won a backstage pass to meet her favorite boy band. She is shaking. She is crying. She is literally on the verge of passing out. Usman saw this level of fangirl worship and immediately weaponized it. The moment they sit down in that hotel room, Usman pulls off one of the most calculated psychological moves seen on television. He flatly refuses to call her his girlfriend. Instead, he downgrades her to a potential. Think about how sinister this is. By labeling her a potential, he creates an artificial hierarchy. He puts himself on a pedestal as the ultimate prize to be won, forcing Kim to prove her worth. And how does Kim try to prove her worth? She pays the entry fee. She pulls out a brand new PlayStation 5 and a high-end laptop, handing them over like tribute to a king. This wasn't a mutual courtship. It was a pure corporate transaction. She was funding his lifestyle just to secure a man's basic attention. And as Kim sat there waiting for a relationship title, Usman was setting up a separate hotel room down the hall, proving right out of the gate that if she wanted access, the invoice was going to keep going up. But if you think a PlayStation 5 is the most expensive thing Kim sacrificed to keep this man happy, just wait until you see what she brought to his family in Nigeria. Once Usman moved into Kim's room to save his team hotel costs, the psychological manipulation shifted into overdrive.
You want things to be done in your own way.
He established an absolute boundary, no intimacy until she officially earned the title of girlfriend. Now, on the surface, anyone has the right to set boundaries, but watch how Usman uses this specific boundary as a control valve. He isn't withholding intimacy out of moral or traditional reservations. He is withholding it as a disciplinary tool. Kim is left begging, crying, and spiraling, completely humiliated on national television because she cannot understand why a man accepting her thousands of dollars worth of gifts refuses to even hold her hand. The second Kim voices her frustration, Usman pulls out the ultimate defensive card. He looks at her and says, "You want things to be done in your own way. That was what happened with my last relationship." This is pure textbook gaslighting. By comparing Kim to his allegedly abusive ex-wife, he instantly forces Kim into a defensive corner. To prove she isn't toxic like Lisa, Kim is forced to suppress her own boundaries, silence her complaints, and submit completely to Usman's terms. After days of emotional starvation, Usman finally relents. He officially proclaims her his girlfriend, generously bestowing upon her the title of Queen Kamali. Look at Kim's reaction. She behaves as if she just won a Lifetime Achievement Award. She celebrates winning a title that most people get on a casual second date, but notice his criteria for choosing her. He explicitly tells the camera he chose her for her loyalty, support, and patience. Translate those words from reality TV speak to plain English. He chose her because she proved she was willing to sit quietly, pay for things, and tolerate emotional neglect without walking away. But this brief moment of victory was nothing but a trap, because the moment Kim thought she had finally secured her man, Usman's hidden life was about to be broadcast to the entire world. With the girlfriend title secured, Kim thinks they are finally building a future. Instead, Usman flies her directly into a psychological meat grinder. He brings her to the set of his latest music video. Kim assumes she is there as his supportive partner. She spends hours under the hot sun acting as his unpaid personal assistant, holding his water bottles, adjusting his jewelry, and managing his staff. Then the floor drops out from under her. Kim discovers that the romantic track Usman is shooting, the love song she is currently working for free to help produce, was written for and dedicated to another woman, an ex-girlfriend named Zara. Think about the sheer psychological disrespect of this move. He flew an American woman across the world to watch him shoot a visual love letter to his ex. When Kim pulls him aside to confront him about this total lack of consideration, she brings up the massive effort she put into the relationship, contrasting it with his complete indifference. And watch Usman's response. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't validate her hurt. He smirks. He looks at her and calls her funny.
Oh my God, this is funny.
Oh, is it funny?
Very funny.
Is this funny too?
The drink heard round the world. For years, viewers debated whether Kim crossed the line here, but look at the psychological trigger behind that splash. Kim later explained that her cheating ex-husband used to come home with lipstick on his collar and numbers in his pockets, and whenever she confronted him, he would laugh in her face and say, "Oh Kim, you're so funny when you're mad." Usman wasn't just dismissing her. He was running the exact same psychological script as her past abusers. The drink throwing wasn't just about a music video, it was the violent cracking of a woman's entire psychological dam. But instead of realizing he pushed her too far, Usman immediately pivots into cultural weaponization. He claims that in his culture, a woman throwing liquid on a man is the ultimate form of submissive disrespect. He looks at her, completely cold, and delivers two words that should have ended the relationship right then and there: safe flight.
You think my friends want me here?
Safe flight.
Wow, really? Safe flight?
Yeah.
Cool.
Somehow, through sheer trauma bonding and a private apology concert on the beach, Kim patched things up and flew back to America. She thought the drama with the ex-girlfriend Zara was ancient history, but during the tell-all special, production takes the kid gloves off.
If I should ask you, do you miss anything about me?
And blindsides Kim with unedited raw footage. While Kim was in Zanzibar acting as his manager and holding his bags, Usman was secretly slipping away to make international phone calls to Zara, telling her he missed her, asking if she wanted to get back together and promising her real love. Look at Kim's face on that couch. It is the face of total public humiliation. She didn't just find out her boyfriend was emotionally cheating. She found out she was the only person in the entire world who didn't know about it. The producers knew, the crew knew, Zara knew. Kim breaks down, completely shattered, and walks off the stage. But look at Usman's reaction to getting caught red-handed. A man who actually cares about his partner would enter damage control, apologize, and show remorse. Usman does the exact opposite. He gets furious. He starts yelling through the screen, asserting his absolute dominance.
Let me land, please. If I want to go with Zara, it's easy. It's easy. I can tell Kimbali, so you know what? I'm not in a relationship, I'm not interested, then I'll go with Zara.
He brags about his ability to get women, shouting that he could sleep with anyone he wants, anywhere he wants, and that Kim should be grateful he hasn't done it. He completely flips the narrative. Suddenly, he isn't a liar who got caught. He's a benevolent king defending his right to absolute freedom. And the most tragic part of this entire dynamic, Kim eventually walks back onto that stage, sits back down on that couch, and accepts his excuse that he simply forgot about the phone call. The delusion was now officially running the entire ship. Determined to push through the humiliation, Kim travels to Nigeria to take the ultimate step, getting his family's blessing for marriage. But because Kim is 50 and cannot bear children, Usman's traditional Muslim family is completely against the union. They demand a continuation of his lineage. Kim, so deep in the quicksand of this relationship, agrees to an extreme compromise. She will allow Usman to take a second, much younger wife in Nigeria to give him biological children, as long as she remains the first wife in status. To sweeten the deal, Kim buys a cow as a gift for Usman's mother. This is where the cultural clash turns devastating. In Kim's mind, she is showing ultimate respect and sacrifice, but to Usman's deeply traditional family, this wealthy American showing up with a cow looked like a vulgar transactional bribe. They didn't see love, they saw an older Western woman attempting to buy their son. The final straw breaks back in the hotel room. Kim tries to establish one final, desperate boundary. She tells Usman that the second wife cannot be from America. She needs geographical distance to protect her sanity. If the second wife is in the USA, the illusion of her primary status disappears. And this is the exact moment Usman delivers the killing blow to the relationship. He snaps. He completely drops the Queen Kamali act and unleashes the raw truth of how he views her.
You're doing 20% out of 100. I'm doing 80. I am 33 years old. I'm an artist. I have plenty women from everywhere in the world and say no to them, and I say yes to you.
Because you love me.
I love you at your age and you love me at my age. Do you think you are doing favor for me?
Look at Kim's face. The matrix completely dissolves. She finally realizes that all the money, the PS5s, the laptops, the public humiliation, and the sacrifice of her own dignity meant absolutely nothing to him. To Usman, her entire existence was a baseline requirement, and he genuinely believed he was doing her a charitable favor by allowing her to stand in his shadow. She pulls off the engagement ring, drops it on the table, and walks out. If you only watch the main TLC Fiance tells, the producers tried to sell a clean Hollywood ending where Kim and Usman remained platonic best friends who spoke every day. But anyone who understands human psychology knows that keeping tabs on an ex who systematically dismantled your self-worth isn't a friendship. It's a lingering addiction. Off camera, that fake dynamic completely evaporated. Kim recently confirmed that she has entirely cut Usman out of her life. They no longer speak, they don't text, and they have completely scrubbed each other's existence from social media. But if you want to see what total, unedited, savage closure looks like, you have to look at her recent appearance on the Squad Scoop. She walked into her backyard, set down a box containing every single physical piece of baggage from those years, and she struck a match. As the flames consumed his face, Kim broke down in tears, admitting to the cameras that all the time, the thousands of dollars, and the immense emotional sacrifices she made ultimately amounted to absolutely nothing. That backyard fire pit wasn't just a dramatic scene manufactured for TLC. It was an exorcism. She wasn't just destroying old photos. She was burning the physical evidence of her own manipulation. She was closing the bank account on a reality TV grifter who treated her heart like a business transaction. She had to burn the fantasy down to ashes just to remember who she was before she slid into his DMs. So let's settle it right now in the comments. Did Kim finally reclaim her absolute power and dignity by lighting that match? Or did she lose the absolute second she bought a gaming console for a man who labeled her a potential? Was Usman a cold-blooded tactical genius, or just a low-tier hustler who ran out of moves the second he met a woman with an army background? Drop your raw thoughts below. If you are completely sick of watered-down reality TV recaps and want the deep, unhinged psychological breakdowns of what's actually happening behind the screen, smash that subscribe button right now.